Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and will lead as examples to the flock. Peace and salutation to the elect out there pushing this word in sincerity, in all honesty. Shalom. This lesson is going to be a brief lesson, based on something that I discovered a couple days back. And we all know that there are a lot of unjust and wicked laws, in this, present society, especially among Edomite nations, but this one in particular is one that is vexing, you know, and it is the no reasonable consumer logic, when it comes to food manufacturers. So I want to read it here. So it says, explain. I asked the chat. So the AI agent that I use, or the AI chat that I use, is Claude AI. If anybody does want to give it a try. So I asked, explain the no reasonable consumer logic of some lawsuit rulings regarding food companies. Right? And the answer is the no reasonable consumer standard is a legal defense that food companies frequently use to dismiss false advertising lawsuits. Right? Under this doctrine, courts will throw out cases if they determine that no reasonable consumer would actually be deceived by the allegedly misleading marketing claims. Right? The standard essentially asks whether an ordinary person exercising reasonable care and prudence would be misled by the product's labeling or advertising. Courts consider factors like whether the accurate information is available somewhere else on the package, like in fine print or hidden under a second label, right? Whether the claim is obviously puffery or opinion rather than fact, or whether common sense would lead consumers to investigate further. Food companies have successfully used this defense in various contexts. For example, courts have ruled that reasonable consumers wouldn't expect all natural products to be completely free of synthetic ingredients, since the term isn't strictly regulated. Similarly, some courts have found that customers shouldn't expect vanilla ice cream to contain only vanilla beans, given that artificial vanilla flavoring has been common for decades. This also worked for cases involving a term like artisan bread from large commercial bakeries, or farm fresh eggs that don't come directly from farms. Courts reasoned that reasonable customers or consumers understand these terms are marketing language rather than literal description of production, right? So, pretty much what this logic or this doctrine, this legal doctrine is a defense for food companies to lie in their packaging and their marketing, and say that, oh, if you have sense, if you have some common sense, if you're reasonable, if you're using any logic or any scrutiny, you would know that I'm lying to you, right? You would know that all natural doesn't actually mean all natural. You would know that farm fresh eggs doesn't mean that it's coming from the farm, you know. So it's another way, to justify, telling lies, where this they're gonna put something like, for example, there's a drink that I noticed a few years back. It said 100% juice, and then when you look at the fine print, it's actually not. It's a little juice from concentrate and then a bunch of other chemicals, right? But it says big and bold, 100% juice, right? So this is Isaiah 10 and 1. Warn to them that decree and righteous decrees, right? And that right grievousnesses which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help, right? And where will ye leave your glory? Because at the end of the day, the Heavenly Father sees all this. He sees that this is an unjust kingdom, right? With unjust rulers passing unjust laws. And this is an example of an unjust law, right? Because what other reason would you have to put misleading claims on your products and in your advertisement but to get people to buy it, right? Because you're not going to say farm fresh eggs because you just like the term farm fresh. You know that people want farm fresh eggs, right? You're not gonna put something like 100% juice on your label because you like the term. You know that people want actual juice, but then hidden in the fine print, right, or hidden behind the doctrine, no reasonable consumer, right? You will say, but you can't expect it to be all natural. Come on, you know, it's rubbish, right? So this is Psalm 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are the deaf adder which stoppeth their ear. Right? They don't even want to hear what is right, yo. Right? They just want to continue making money. And that's what all these companies are about, milking the consumer for more and more and more money every year, because these companies believe in the doctrine of infinite growth. If you made $1 billion last year, you need to make 1.5 this year or 2 billion this year, right? So you need to do something else in order to convince the consumer to consume your product, right? And that includes also lying to the consumer in your advertising or in your labeling and then hide behind it. No reasonable consumer would believe that this is actually true, right? You're an idiot if you believe this, right? Habakkuk 1 and 4. Therefore, the law is slacked, right? This is an example of the law being slack. The judgment does never go forth, for wicked does compass about the righteous. Therefore, what? Wrong judgment proceedeth, right? This is a wrong judgment. This is giving the legal defense for lying to consumers, right? That's really what it is. But we know ultimately, like we said, this kingdom is going to be judged. And this is just one small example of why this kingdom will be judged. Right? Ecclesiastes 5 and 8, if thou seest the oppression of the poor and the violent perverting of justice and judgment in a province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than high, right? He that is higher than the highest regarded, and there be higher than they. So we know, right? We who are in the truth, we give thanks to Yahweh Shem Yahshua that we have the truth. We who are in the truth know and are comforted by the fact that there is a higher power than them, there is a higher judge than them, even though on the earth they seem to be the highest authority and operate with impunity. We know that there is a higher judge than them, and that judge is taking account of the things that he's doing and will be judged for it, right? So hopefully this lesson was edifying. Until next time, shalom.